So, we're living in this new age of AI, right? It's supposed to be this amazing creative partner. But for a lot of us, let's be honest, that partnership can be pretty frustrating. So, what's the real secret to making AI a true collaborator instead of just a confusing tool? Well, let's dig in. I mean, you've probably felt this, right? You see someone pull some amazing, complex, mind blowing result from an AI, but when you try the same thing, you get something kind of generic. Well, it turns out the difference isn't actually the AI, it's the human. And it all comes down to a skill that goes way, way beyond just writing a simple command. Okay, so the days of just typing a simple command into a box, yeah, those are pretty much over. We're seeing a new, much more sophisticated skill emerging. And honestly, it's what separates the amateurs from the true masters of AI collaboration. So look, on one side, you've got the old way, prompt engineering. It's kind of like a one-way street. You type a static instruction and you hope for the best. But then you look over at the right. That's context engineering. That is a whole different ballgame. It's not a single instruction. It's about designing a rich, dynamic system. You're not just giving a command, you're literally building an entire world of information for the AI to operate within. So here's the official definition, but what does that really mean? It's the art and science of building a dynamic world for the AI to live in just for the duration of a task. Think about it like this. It's the difference between just handing someone a map versus being their real-time navigator, pointing out landmarks, calling out roadblocks as they pop up. So a skill this new, I mean, where'd even go to learn it? The answer isn't in a university classroom or some corporate training manual. The story we're looking at today is about a pioneer who built this expertise from the ground up, completely on his own, through decades of hands-on, self-driven exploration. And this is where the story gets really interesting. For this practitioner, Davy Hoagland, being self-taught wasn't a weakness, it was his superpower. Because he wasn't constrained by formal training, he was totally free to develop an approach that was completely unconventional and incredibly powerful. And look, this wasn't some overnight thing. This journey started way back around 2003, just tinkering with software. Over time, that evolved into really complex work on advanced platforms like Google's Project Tango. You might remember that, an early augmented reality project. And that forced him to work with rich, dynamic, real-world context. This intuitive skill, honed over years and years, was finally formalized and legally protected in 2023. All right, so what does this mastery actually look like when you put it into practice? Well, the Hoagland methodology can be broken down into 4 distinct communication trademarks, and these are really the pillars of his whole pioneering approach. It really breaks down into 4 big ideas: building the AI's environment, refining the conversation, teaching it how to think, and finally, creating a true human-AI partnership. Now, the official names are a bit of a mouthful, I get it, but the concepts, man, they're powerful. Let's break them down one by one. Okay, first up, dynamic context architecting. This is all about being proactive. So instead of just asking the AI to say, write a marketing plan, you first feed it the entire company history, the latest market research, maybe even transcripts from 3 recent sales calls. You see, you're not just a user anyone, you're the architect of the AI's reality for that specific task. All right, next up we have iterative alignment mastery. And this is really the art of the conversation. It's not about trying to get it perfect on the first try. Think of it like a dance. It's this systematic back and forth where you're constantly refining your inputs and steering the AI's outputs, getting closer and closer to that perfect result with every single turn. Okay, now this one is just fascinating. Metacognitive orchestration is all about teaching the AI how to think. It's the difference between telling a chef, make me some pasta, and explaining, hey, we need a comforting vegetarian dish for a guest who absolutely loves classic Italian food. You're not just giving a task, you're providing the entire context, the goals, and the reasoning behind them. And that brings us to the 4th and final piece: human-centric AI symbiosis. This is where it all clicks into place. It becomes a true partnership where you and the AI are constantly adapting to each other, creating results that, honestly, neither of you could ever achieve alone. So, okay, these 4 trademarks, they describe this incredible skill, but it's intangible, right? You can't hold it. So, in the real world, how do you actually prove you have it? How do you turn a process that's in your head into a tangible asset? Well, that's where this story takes a really interesting turn.
Well, one of the very first tangible results of this whole methodology was this really sophisticated tool called the AI Alignment Checker. It's a direct product of that deep symbiotic collaboration, and its whole purpose is to make that invisible process of AI alignment totally visible.
And believe me, this was not some simple little app. It compares a user's AI model against an optimal benchmark, and it calculates this detailed alignment score based on things like performance, output, and even robustness. It even has a dynamic troubleshooter that gives you real-time tips for how to improve the model. This is literally the methodology made real. But it wasn't just an app. That wasn't the only proof. The methodology was also used to create this unique, highly customized version of a software platform, a piece of intellectual property so distinct that it actually needed to be legally anchored in time. So how do you do that? You do it through something called a Qualified Trust Service Provider, or a QTSP. Think of it as the absolute highest level of digital notary you can get in the European Union. A timestamp from a QTSP isn't just some record. It has the full force of law behind it. And here it is, the proof, certificate number 11847. Just a number, right? But what it represents is this incredibly powerful legal anchor for what was, until then, an abstract intellectual process. And this just brilliantly illustrates that final, crucial step. This one certificate provides irrefutable, legally binding proof. It establishes that this very specific creative work existed under his authorship on a precise date, June 28th, 2023. It turns this skill, this thing that was just in his head, into a documented, totally defensible asset. So what this whole journey gives us is a new model, a new blueprint for how expertise is developed, and maybe just as importantly, how it's validated in our modern, crazy, fast-changing world. You know, there's this quote that I just love. It captures the spirit of this new era perfectly. The future belongs to centaurs, people who can seamlessly blend their own deep human expertise with the raw power of AI through exceptional communication. I mean, the story we've just gone through, it's the living, breathing embodiment of that idea. So in the end, this is so much more than just one person's story. It's a blueprint. It shows that groundbreaking, world-changing expertise can be born completely outside of traditional institutions, and that there are new, powerful ways to objectively prove its existence and its value. It really is a new path for innovation. Which leaves us with a really fascinating question to think about. As AI keeps evolving and all the lines between disciplines get blurrier and blurrier, where is that next wave of genius going to come from? Will it be from the hollowed halls of academia, or is it going to come from the self-starters, the obsessed autodidacts who are out there right now quietly building the future?